Hello everybody, this is day 5 of me painting and meditating. So I've just finished my meditation. I'm now going to paint on here and talk to you at the same time. So here goes. I hope you enjoy, and I'm not sure how you think about what's going on here, but personally I'm not quite sure. It's not doing anything for me, so I'm just going to go possibly a little bit crazy on here. Some of you may cry when you see what I'm thinking I might do on here, but I'm just going to start and see where it goes and chat to you, because yeah, I need to do something with this, because it's just not happening for me. So yeah. So I know a lot of you really enjoyed the big bold moves that I made the last time with this. And you might think that, what on earth is she doing at this point? Which sometimes I feel the same way as well, but I think you have to just make a bit of, you've just got to make some moves and see what happens. And so this is what's happening here. I'm just adding some light into this, because as you can see, when you've put the actual white on, you can see how dark these light areas actually are. And so to get a really good design going, you really need to make sure you know what your lights and what your darks are. And adding white, I have come to realise, is a good way to find that out. Now I'm adding some straight lines onto this, simply to add some contrast to the beautiful sort of petal shapes, organic shapes that are coming through. So I'm just kind of going a bit crazy with this. Just to see where it goes, really. Just to see what happens. I do find that sometimes when you just let go and you do something a bit bold and a bit crazier, that it can pay off. So we'll just see what happens from here. There's a slight yellow tinge into this bit here that I've added, just to give it another depth as I'm going along. So add some more shapes in here. It's a bit hard with that ridge. Going up and round with this. Now you might think this is quite plain, which it is, but that's the reason I'm doing it. It's so that it is plain, and it is bolder, and that maybe from it we can be inspired into something greater than what it is already. Because I love in these areas, and I'm trying to be too precious, I think, with it. And so we'll see. So I'm going to get the white one back in again, and just kind of see what we can do here. I don't know about any of you, if any of you paint and do, but I tend to do the similar shapes quite often. You don't realise you're doing it. Those shapes are the same sort of ones. And if you have little ridges like this, it's all good. Just come in and just use it to give you some ideas of what to do and where to go. I really like tools like this because it takes the preciseness out of it, so that you have less control, which is nice because it then gives you marks that sometimes that you would never have made if you've just got a tiny paintbrush and you're going over it. And then also sometimes with those big brushes you can get quite weird brush marks. So you can see some of those bits coming through on there, which is lovely. And one of the big mistakes I made last night was to leave this actually very much like this with all the paint on it, and then it dried. So this morning I had to scrape it off. Trust me, you don't want to do that. It's not ideal. Now, sometimes as well you have a bit of paint on there that you can then use, and it forms some lines that you can, you see, they're ones that you wouldn't have made if you were doing it yourself. And then other times as well is to just turn something around. Turn it around and go from a different angle. Go from a different place altogether. And then just use different tools, different brushes. And they all can then give you a different sense of direction with it. And the more you do it, the more you come to trust that it's okay. And it'll be okay if you just do something very crazy and bold. And then you're like, oh, that's nice. I'll see what else I can do with that, you know? So just bring some of that down here as well. Build it across. Now, again, just making some marks, putting them across. If you're wondering about the types of tools that I use, it's very, very much, I go to the DIY stores and just pick up some really random stuff. Things that I think I could just use to scrape paint like this, to make different marks. Tools that you think, ooh, careful Juliet. Yeah, tools that you think you can make. Actually, that's quite nice the way that did that, so I'm going to do it on purpose. Yeah, just the ones that you can make different marks with, like those lines. This one's a really cool one. It's got like little ridges and things. So I'll just show you on here. So you can make different lines like that. And then if you don't like it, just take it off. Just take it off by adding something else. So this is what I tend to do, just keep going with it. Now, just going to turn it round once more and see what's emerging from it. I think it's really murky and darky going on in there. So I'm going to just add some bits in, see if I can highlight some of these, make them a bit whiter along here, just to see if that would help somehow. So it's come to the end as well of my first week of painting, and it has been an amazing week, and it started off very dubious. I was really unsure about how it was going to go. I was unsure about the if you have time off from work, then it's often, if you're not at work, it's often because you're on holiday, and so you have that mentality. And so I was very conscious of that. and you know, made sure that I stuck with some of my habitual things that I do, like at the same time I get up, and you start work at the same time, that kind of thing. So I just kept on going. Kept trying to stay on target with things, which I have done, which I'm really surprised that it has been easier than I thought, but we're only 1 week in, so we will see what happens. Okay. Right, so this has gone very crazy, very quickly. And it does. Let me turn it the right way around again. Gosh, I've done that much to it, you can't hardly tell what it is. That's brilliant. Okay. Now, love this area here. That's made that really come out really nicely. And yeah, so those delicate areas against that bold is really nice. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that to dry so that I can come back into it. And the main thing is not to be scared of it, because even if I come back to it and I go, oh my goodness, it's an absolute atrocious mess, you can sand back, you can paint over the top, and you can just keep going. So there's no reason and no fear to have with any of it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll just trim around these edges because they can get really thick with paint. And then I'm going to swap it over to a different painting. So I'll have this one here. In fact, I'm just going to get a different one. Well, this is just one that I've started this morning. Just a first layer using up some old paint. And then I used some light paper to just dab it to get a bit of this texture. So it's who knows where it's going at the moment. So I think I'm just gonna be a bit free and a bit, who knows where it's going. That's kind of the motto with it all, really, as you're going along. So what I've found is that I do like the organic shape, like these circles and, you know, these movements. And it's just good to get your arm going with it and attempt to try and go off the board as well, which is something I have to keep reminding myself to do. So if I'm kind of going off the board and then back round again, so as if, so to make it look bigger, to make it look bolder and all of that. I seem to love that word at the minute, don't I? Anyway. So we'll see what this... So when I go away, it's just because I'm coming off the and getting some paint. Now, I might introduce some blue into this. And just add some of that in. It's like a purpley kind of colour. I like it. In fact, let's get some things in careful. It's like painting your walls at home. Some of the hairs out of these brushes can come out. I quite like that colour up there. It's nice. Turned a very random purple now. Okay. These early stages of the layers, just you can be really playful with it, and really should be playful all the way around, but even more so because you know that these layers are going to be the ones that show through in different areas, and so it's like really you can be as free as you want, try new things. Be bold, spray other paintings down there. I've often done that, and then I've come to pick them up again and they've got blobs of paint on from the other one, but it often turns out that that's quite good. So I'm liking these circles, it's nice. I don't know where those have come from this morning. Okay. We've got another layer on. Now I know you're thinking like, oh, well, what's happened to the other layer? But it will come through. We'll sand it back and do it. So I think I want some more blue. So I'm going to get some more blue paint out. Because I didn't put enough on the palette. It's definitely one thing that I would urge you is to never be stingy with the paint. It was the best thing that I was ever, you know, something that someone said to me was like, just don't be stingy with it, just let it be free with it. And it definitely shows on the painting, it shows and makes the painting so much better. I'd rather have too much paint at the end of the day and just get it on another board ready for another day. It's so random, but you'll be surprised once you have another layer on it. Once you keep going with it, you surprise yourself, and you think, oh, so parts of this has come through. And I'll show you on this picture over here. So, for example, let's put this one down a second. So on this one, these areas here that you can see coming through, these bits, and down here and up here, was a board that I had some paint left over, and I just put it on, made a bit of a mushy, you know, blended them in, and then I came back over and put some lighter areas on it. Then I came back over again and did all these like a P shapes. This one was a big P shape and they were all over it. Then there's some texture under here where some of the paint's got thicker. And then I've sanded it back and then come back in with these bolder, thicker darker lines and then go back over again with the flowers. So each layer, you're still keeping some of it here for the interest, and it just shows a greater depth when it comes to the end painting. So hopefully you can see. The light's a bit rubbish, but you can see here. So, you know, all these bits up in here, they're like, for example, this here was one of those peas that I was talking about that was covered up and then sanded back, and then you can see it again through here. So hopefully you can see that, and it's just really nice that you can get that feel for it. Right, so what I'm going to do is just go back to this other one, and I tend to have quite a few on the go at the same time, because, you know, as you're letting one dry, you can just keep moving forward. So again, get rid of the thick paint that's around the outside, so it's harder to sand off later when you're wanting to put it onto when you're wanting to frame it or put a border on it or what have you. So that's looking quite good. But one of the lovely tools I use, you probably saw me using it earlier, because you can see the lines in a lot of the brush strokes. So whilst it is still wet, you can just come in and it flattens it down. Now, sometimes this one is a better tool to do that. And you just go in and you slightly keep this side up and that side down, but you're not scraping it, you just gently going over it like that. And quite a bit of it has actually dried, so it didn't quite work as well. But if you have a thicker paint, in fact, let's just show you. Let's get some thicker paint on there. Okay. So you've got some thicker paint going on up here, as you can see. Alright, and then you just come in and you can feel it sort of like suction, and then you pull it down over the top like that. And then you have a really kind of like glass-like quality to that paint, and it's lovely. It's really nice. So yeah, definitely you can only achieve that kind of a look if it is thick paint, if you're generous with it, and then the more generous you are with it, the more depth it has, the way you can sand back. I mean, I have like a full-on sander that I come on with it, which I'll show you. I think if you're on my Facebook, you can have a look. There is a video of me using the sander. So yeah, so, and it also just adds lovely little details in here that you would never have been able to achieve with just a paintbrush. So I'll bring it forward again so you can have a better look. I'm hoping that the light comes across better on that, so you can see. So yeah, so it's fabulous. So thank you all very much for your support for this first week. It's been really good. I'm going to get the hairdryer on these so that I can keep going, and yes, and I will keep doing meditations and my art at the weekend. I may not post the videos, but I will definitely be continuing with the artwork, and yeah, keep looking out for the videos. I hope you're enjoying it, and if there is anything that you think, oh, I'd like to see more of that, or anything that that you see that you want to have some more advice on, then just feel free to leave me a comment and let me know. Alright then, have a lovely weekend guys, bye.